circle as a spatial measurement. But of course, if we're trained as musicians, then we just rely on listening to the source of time. And so when people listen to the shortest time and the highest frequency, what's been discovered is that they can convert it into a change in frequency faster than science can do with the spatial measurement. And so what this scientist discovered, in the 1920s, he was the true founder of quantum mechanics, but he was actually critiquing relativity. And so when Einstein used an atomic clock to describe relativity, so that a particle, as it speeds up towards the speed of light, then the frequency goes up and the time slows down. But what Du Bois is saying is that because the time slows down, it gets bigger. But the particle has to be reversible, so internally the time as the particle has a clock inside, and so the particle itself is defined as a wavelength. And so the speed is the momentum, is the frequency times the time as the phase velocity. And so what he discovered is that since the time's getting bigger, then the frequency has to also be getting smaller. But since it's a quantum particle and it's increasing towards the speed of light, that means the frequency actually is getting bigger. So this is from Pythagoras, what they call, that Pythagoras from music theory discovered that time is inverse to frequency. And so then, just based on that logical principle, Du Bois realized if time is getting bigger due to relativity, then there has to be a frequency that's negative, and it's from reverse time, from the future. And so he called this the phase wave of the particle. So you can have a phase wave that's superluminal and faster than the speed of light. And this was before spin was discovered. So then Wolfgang Pauli realized that there's this new principle in physics called spin, and you can't see it because an electron with 1/2 spin is actually 720 degrees. And so this was explained to me in my first year of college, because I took quantum mechanics as my first physics course, and my professor emphasized that everybody should be learning quantum mechanics as their first physics course, because it's the foundation of reality. And so he showed us this little place, and so another way to say this in terms of is that time and frequency are noncommutative. So two frequencies from future time So what scientists go through if somebody is accelerating towards the speed of light, then they can hear a phonon in the empty even though there's no matter, there's no particle in the matter. And this is what the sources of the rest of frequency is going up while time is slowing down. So we experience external time as